wicketkeeper goes unnoticed when you don't talk about him or you don't talk
Yes.
about missed chances and whatnot. So he's achieving behind the stumps. He loves his banter. We know everyone how Dick Weller likes to chirp behind the stumps.
Some call it Silverwood effect, but
Hmm.
the credit should go to the local coaches who's been working with them for
Yeah,
throughout, up to this point of their careers.
yeah.
Not only the coaches, the physios and the trainers who kept them fit. Welcome to another episode of Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast. My name's Vida and I'm here with my co-host Sohan. How are you doing, Bora?
Doing good weather. We both got our winter jackets on, so the weather's changing up here, but pretty good. You got a big smile on because your predictions come true against the Bangladesh series. So
Yeah.
looking good with that. So I'd like to, during this episode, try to uncover what the secret and share with the boys or the listeners what you picked on and what the strategy was behind that call. So I'll be keen to pick your brains on that one.
Well, they say, even a broken clock is the time of a broken clock is correct 2 times a day. So
I have no clue what that means. I guess you got something right. So
Oh, sometimes you get lucky, Bara. Um,
um,
before we get into the episode, this episode is sponsored by Stag Sports Australia.
yeah,
Yeah, and we are recording this episode soon after a series win against Bangladesh. It was a rare occasion where fast bowlers taken lots of wickets in Asian wickets and lots of runs scored by Angelo. So there's a lot to talk about this series because you're right. I mean, I predicted 1-0, but it was closer than I thought because I thought this test was heading for a draw. But our fast bowlers did a remarkable job to get them out in the second innings. This is really good for Sri Lanka cricket. Good for Chris Silverwood, his first series. He bought a win for Sri Lanka.
yeah, you're right. I think we went in the series, pretty much underdogs, even though it's against Bangladesh. But to come out 1-0 is a pretty good effort from the touring party. Good start for a lot of the coaches who started new roles within the Sri Lankan setup.
Mm.
Transition of bowlers as well. I mean, Surang Lakmas left the camp as the spearhead fast bowler. Vishwa, still young, but he was pretty much the leader of the attack. But then we had a couple more, Kasun Rajitha being introduced, spinners as well, still young. They'll want to improve on their performances. We've always talked a lot about Angie, how good he is a player to have in the setup, how important it is, and he's showing the results. So I think it's a good way for us to start with the bowling camp with her. I'll let you lead the fast bowlers and I can touch base a bit on the spinners. I think because of our roles of having, I mean, our skill sets being into those. So, um, yeah, spinners number one has a lot. I mean, lot to improve, but it is a young spinning group. I think I still would have played Lasith Tambuldeni in the second test as well. I just feel he's a spearhead spinner. He has to lead the attack. But I think that's the effect of having a fast bowling coach or a player as a fast bowler who's a head coach now, where he understands his thinking patterns might affect the game, strategy he's played. Because if you look, I mean, if you would have looked back at Sri Lanka's strategy, they would have gone with 3 spinners into this
Yeah.
match to leave out fast bowlers. And that would have prompted Praveen to replace Lasith Tambuldeni in this. So my feeling is Lasith should be the main spinner. He needs to play more games to build on
Yeah.
it. Ramesh, yes, he's also a good spinner learning. He's more can bat a bit and bowls. Praveen would come in as the third spinner most likely in this setup.
Mm.
Because it's a good track. We are playing cricket. The games are played on good tracks, so you need good spinners, and Lasith has that trait. And because of the less number of matches, test matches that Sri Lanka plays, you almost need time for them to learn as they play along and get into that routines of going back into 5-day cricket. So I felt that's a bit of a learning curve. I'm sure they'll come to the Australian series. They'll do their homework and work out a better strategy, because they'll play an important role. But it didn't hurt them having an off day, just to realize where we are at.
No, you're right. I mean, when you look at the series, it looks like the spinners had a below par. They had below par performances in the series, but the fact is they played on good wickets, Bora. Sri Lanka. I mean, if you look at the history of Sri Lanka cricket, especially Test cricket, we win matches consistently when we have a good fast bowlers in the team. The fast bowlers who take wickets with the new ball, and when Vas and Malinga was in the Test team, and to a certain extent when Dilhara was also in the team, they used to take maybe one or two with the new ball, then make important breakthroughs with the old ball as well, and that allow us to prepare good wickets. Otherwise we'll have to prepare wickets to suit spinners, and that gets us in trouble sometimes. And that happened against England in the last Test championship. We lost to England in goal. And when you look at this series, 24 wickets has been shared between Kasun Rajith and Asith Fernando. So that's a big number, Bora. Especially we are playing in Bangladesh. And Asith Fernando took a 10 for. And he's only 24, and that's, everyone calls this the Silverwood effects. Some call it Silverwood effect, but the credit should go to the local coaches who's been working with them for throughout, up to this point of their careers. Not only the coaches, the physios and the trainers who kept them fit, especially Kasun Raj. He's coming back from injury. Remember, he walked off after bowling 2 overs in South Africa, and he wasn't even playing in the first Test. He came in as a concussion sub, and as I said in the last episode, he did a Scotty Boland for us, Sri Lanka. So this is really good news for us. If fast bowlers are taking wickets, that means our batters will make runs, because we can play on better surfaces. And as you said, Angelo, it was a matter of time, because we were not playing enough cricket for the last few months, on and off, and not enough domestic cricket. Cricket is a game where you need to keep playing, otherwise you start from square one. And Angie showed his class and scored 300 plus runs. Not only Angie, even Chandimal looks really good. We have, I mean, I personally think he should only play Test cricket, but he looked really good in this series. So going into the series against Australia, of course, our spinners have to do better, but I think we are in a really good position to challenge them. Once again, we'll go in as the underdogs, but I think we are better prepared than we were a couple of months ago.
I think just touching base on you covered pretty much everything with the fast bowlers. In not only in Sri Lanka, a lot of teams around the world, when there is success, there's a lot of people very quick to grab attention to it, what the effects are. But you gotta, if you take a step back and you look at it, there was an injury substitution that brought Kasun Rajith into the game, opened up his skill set, and give us thought into, okay, there's a possibility. spinners having off day meant the fast bowlers had more wickets, and then eventually Asitha, getting 10 wickets, but like a lot of effort on his side. And it just gave Sri Lanka new strategies, pretty much. Like you said, now we can bank a bit on, okay, let's set up um, wickets that the batters can settle in. So because we've got a good fast bowling unit rather than just play spinners. So uh, there are choices now that Sri Lanka can play with, and that has been a build up over time. No, Chris Silverwood would coming in straight away. Of course, he would have had an input with some of the knowledge and I guess data that he would have had to share within the group, which would have helped, but it also would have contributed to whatever the coaches have been building over a period of time, from Mickey Arthur to the fast bowling coach, Chaminda Was, and there should be more high performance coaches involved, sharing, because I guess how to nail it is, it's not an overnight result that comes through. It's repetitive work that the guys put in, day out. So, and it hasn't been an easy road for Sri Lanka. We are slowly lifting our head with little wins. These are the ones that go a long way. The next challenge for us is playing Australia at home, and seeing how we can cope. But Sri Lanka batters have had a pretty good series. Kusal Mendes has done well. Dick Weller managed to score a few runs when we needed. So it hasn't been just one person, whereas for Bangladesh, it's just Mushfiqu and Lytton Das that was carrying the whole team on their shoulders. Pretty much Mushfiqu carrying that. And we know how much of a menace he is against Sri Lanka. He just scores runs. But those guys they had some seasoned batters, very seasoned batters. Like if you take international cricketers in the subcontinent, Bangladesh has 4 players who, have played a lot of years of cricket under them.
Yeah.
Got Mishwaku, Shakib, Tamim, and the left-hander, the captain Mushfiq. I think we got him less runs, but
no, he didn't have a good series.
Nah, so those are guys have built over time. So I think the boys will be parking still. They'll be on a plane back to Sri Lanka and enjoying, what they've achieved as a group.
No, it was a good win. As I said before, like he was heading for a 0-0 draw, and we turned it around. We nearly lost a session. That was the third day, I think. We nearly lost a session, and I thought, oh, that's it, 0-0. But then Asitha Fernando and Kasun Rajitha, they worked their magic and took the wickets. Against Australia, we are playing one days and T20s first, then the test matches. So we keep an eye on that. One point you mentioned about fast bowlers, before we move on to the next one, I want to mention Sri Lanka. As a first class, as a cricket playing country, we play lots of cricket, like throughout the year. There's a lot of cricket happening, and for the last couple of years, not much cricket been played, and all the tournaments have been pushed back. Especially the cup tournament didn't run as usual, so it wasn't easy to find bowlers in form. As bowlers, you need to keep bowling to have a bowling form. Like batters, bowling in the nets is not enough. You need that match practice and match fitness to have a rhythm to bowl for a longer period. Maybe that's what's happening with Ambul Denia and Praveen Jayavikrama Bora. So that's why, as you said, like they're still young. Like someone like Rangana and Murali, they can, because of the they played so many games, they can come back and start from where they left. But these boys, they're still young, and
Yeah.
yeah, it takes a bit of time. That's why they have to keep playing. So we have to be patient with them. Those are the decisions you have to make with these young spinners. But the fast bowling front is very promising.
Yeah.
There's a competition for places in the team that's really good.
Yeah. With the spinners, with the two names you discussed, one's an exceptional talent. So he's gonna, like Murali, he can bowl on any wicket, and he's got a skill set that is not compared to anyone normal. He's just way ahead. And then Ranganahera, we got to realize, we see Ranganahera at his peak, but his peak was after he was 30, past 30. He was more mature. His skill set was prepared, playing a lot of games overseas, county, or just England league cricket, to the domestic first class in Sri Lanka. Whereas Bulldeniers are 24, 25-year-olds. They're learning. So they'll get there. I'm sure they will. I'd like to touch base with a guy who's gone unnoticed within the setup. Is our wicketkeeper Niroshan Dikwella. I mean, he's had a year off, been banned and whatnot, but he's quickly climbing up the ranks as the wicketkeeper with the most amount of dismissals for Sri
Yeah.
Lanka. So he's, I think, behind PJ Prasanna Jayawardena, a tally of 156. Yeah, so I think he's just overtaken Sangakkara. So it shows where the skills that Dickwell is showing behind the stumps. A wicketkeeper goes unnoticed when you don't talk about him, or you don't talk about missed chances and whatnot. So what he's achieving behind the stumps. He loves his banter. We know, everyone how Dickwell likes to chirp behind the stumps, but he's got such good hands, so clean. That I think what he's achieved are good results of. I still feel like he's one of the best wicket keepers we've got. So he's got the stats to back it up now.
No, you're right. I mean, the position is batting. That's not an easy place to bat and get runs. You have to sometimes you have to push for runs. Sometimes you have to bat with the tail. Sometimes you have to face the second new ball. So it's a very tricky place to bat, and he has done well in that position. I mean, not with hundreds, but when he gets runs, they are valuable runs. So you're right. He's I mean, he had his troubles with discipline and all that, but what matters is now he's back and he's doing his job. And I mean, if he's doing his part in the team, and I mean, that's what we want. But yeah, no, you're right. He's great comeback for him. And as you said, when keepers are doing well, they go unnoticed.
I just jumped on Crick Info we'll just wrap it up on the keepers. Dickwella is on 49 matches, 86 innings.
Right.
Romesh Kaluwitharana is 49 matches, 85 innings. Dickwella has 149 dismissals, while Kaluwitharana has 119 dismissals. So he's about 30 dismissals ahead of what Kaluwitharana was at his time, and Kalu was keeping for Murali most of the time. So that's pretty good effort by Dickwella.
Yeah, that's really good numbers there. Let's move on to IPL final. Bora, you mentioned I got my predictions right, but both teams we support, they're out of the final. So it's going to be a Rajasthan versus Gujarat final. Who are we going to support?
Yeah, I'm not sure now with Gujarat and Rajasthan Royals in the camp in the finals. I guess we'll have to we'll be following our Sri Lankan legends up there. Gujarat also strong team. Gary Kirsten's lead is a head coach there. I mean, he's had a lot of success in the coaching roles he's had. Sangakkara and Malinga showed the magic for the Rajasthan Royals, but Josh Butler is carrying that team massively. He's just hit a purple patch. and the spinners, along with the spinners, they seem to be getting things done. So I guess when you come to a final, you want another exciting game to, round up the tournament, when a marquee event like IPL.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game. I think they're predicting attendance of 120,000 people watching the
Yeah.
final in the stadium. So yeah, that's tomorrow night. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Rajasthan as well, Bora. And you're right, Joss Butler is he's having a dream run with the bat. I mean, he's hitting sixes for fun, and
I think the biggest matchup with Joss Butler would be Rashid Khan. Gujarat will plan Rashid Khan to be into the attack really early if Joss Butler gets ahead. And they'll try to set it up, because if Rashid Khan can get the price wicket of Joss Butler, I think it sets the tone for Gujarat. That might be a key matchup we see, because I think Gujarat plays an extra bowler into their attack from memory. But they know key player like Joss Butler will have a big effect on the batting for the Royals, because everyone else hasn't been as consistent. I think Sanju Samson's going all right, but not a lot of the other guys. I mean, Ashwin scored a few runs, but he wouldn't have the effect Joss Butler is having on the team. So
talking about Sanju Samson, he'll be glad he's not facing Wanindu Hasaranga. He's Wanindu has got him out 6 times so far in his short career playing against each other. I mean, our Sri Lankans who played in the teams, they've done justice for their selections for their teams, isn't it, Bora? I think this will open more doors to Sri Lankan players to the IPL. I mean, remember when they started playing the IPL in 2008, we had nearly about 15 players from Sri Lanka playing in the IPL.
Yeah.
Because our boys have done well in the IPL, this will open more doors for good players to IPL.
Yeah, I think so. Like even the young guys like Mahesh Deekshan and Matisha Pathiran are playing roles. I mean, even raw talents like that know that they can execute at that level. So just puts the value a bit more on the Sri Lankan boys. It will be interesting to see who the next batsman will be picked from Sri Lanka. I mean, Bhanuka Rajapaksa's set the tone with the batting. So some of the local batters we have, I think, it's hard to think at this stage, but one person for sure who needs to pick up his batting is Wanindu Hasaranga. He's gone down the rank pretty quickly up there. So I hope once he gets back into the Sri Lankan setup, he'll get his confidence up and running. But yeah, I don't know with that. I think I'm excited to see who the next Sri Lankan batter is to break through for the IPL.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm disappointed with Vanuatu's batting as well. We rate him so high, and you'll be like, oh, why did he play that shot first ball? Every time he gets out, but I can think of 2 batsmen, Bora.
Okay.
One is Pathum Nissanka.
Yeah.
The other guy is Datun Shanaka. I was surprised as he didn't get a call up even for this IPL when some of the players had to pull out due to various reasons. Because he's been hitting the ball out of the park. Even remember against the last series we played, he had a really good series. So I was surprised he didn't get picked in the first place, and I was surprised because he didn't get a call up when these injuries happened. But now that these guys from Sri Lanka have done well in the IPL, I'm sure they'll look into the likes of Nissanka and Dasun, because traditionally they'll go for batsmen from Australia, right? And they haven't really done well in this IPL. Look at Finch.
Yeah.
He didn't really kept going in this IPL. So you're playing in India, you're playing on similar wickets, and if these guys are getting runs in Sri Lanka and in subcontinent, why not try them? So
Yeah.
I think they'll get a go.
Right. I guess it's a role that relating more to Pathum. A lot of the teams have a established Indian opener, and
Hmm.
then second spot opens up to the overseas player Faf, who like to bat through the innings, and then you have guys like Devon Conway, who's picked up into CSK as a overseas opener. Pathum, I'm sure, can play that role, but he'll be fighting for one spot rather than two openers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's one interesting. Maybe there's a stat that we haven't seen yet that is shared amongst the teams. But I guess the Sri Lankan performance might put more value into Dasun
Hmm.
making it in. The power, T20 is just expanded over with the amount of cricket that he's playing and the stats that are being rolled out. Because having DRS technology means every ball gets tracked, so there is more data on
Yes.
so for teams to play.
Hmm.
Um, and I was even following the games, and I like listening to the words that are being used, and you talk about
Yeah.
situations from various interviews, games that are being covered.
Hmm.
The T20s now, the hundreds in play in England, so now it's more the effects of the number of balls in
Yeah.
play. So earlier we used to think it's the power play, the middle overs, and the death overs. Now
Yeah.
teams are even breaking that into stages.
Yeah.
It's called, I think it's 4 stages now. So you got um, 24 balls, which is the 6 over power play. Then you have 26 balls to get it up to the 10 over mark, and then 230 ball blocks
Yeah.
where teams are trying to set up. So that's how advanced the games are games coming at. Then you have the extreme likes of guys like Livingston, who are hitting the ball out of the park.
Yeah.
Uh, so the game's gone really it's evolving really fast. um, so
Hmm.
that's, yeah, I like learning more about the game, and the more terms you hear, just
Hmm.
fascinating.
No, I mean, point I talk point I want to talk about Dasun Chanaka is
Mm,
the way he finished the innings, Pura.
yeah,
He tend to get 20 runs per over in the last 3 overs.
yeah.
So if you look at the amount of runs he gets in the last 2-3 overs,
Mm,
I think he'll be in the top 2-3 batters in the world.
yeah,
Maybe it takes him some time to get going, but the way he finish is phenomenal. So, and the other thing is, you talked about the importance of data. So in one game, Ashwin was batting well, and he decided to go inside and retire out so that he can bring in someone who can hit sixes. So you will see all these. We talk about matchups and all that, but we'll see more of these things happening in the T20 cricket in the future.
yeah. It's I mean, there'll be teams off the back of this IPL edition trying to restructure their teams. They've found ways. Gujarat's found a formula that's working coming into a first year tournament. Obviously, they've worked on a few things that have, worked out well for them. Like Sri Lanka winning the World Cup in '96, we made use of the 15 overs at the start.
Mm.
So in T20, there seems to be a small niche area that they've picked up. Well, Rajasthan Royals have gone with a good bowling attack. Like
Mm.
it's a proper test bowling attack with Bolt, Ashwin, and the leggy
Chahal.
Chahal in that attack. That's a pretty strong bowling attack. And then Gujarat's got the best T20 player at the moment, who's turning his skills with the bat as well in Rashid Khan. I hope it'll be a high scoring game. 180 plus game would be ideal, just to see how the game swings each way.
All right, time to make a prediction, and you can't sit on the fence. Who's going to win it, bro?
Rajasthan Royals. I think Josh Butler's got one more good innings up his sleeve. And Sanju Samson will come up with a good cameo to back it up for the boys. So I think they'll bring it home.
All right. Yeah. You beat me to it. I'm picking Rajasthan as well. So we'll see how we go. That's all the time we have for this week's episode, Bora. We'll keep an eye on that IPL final. So go Rajasthan.
Yep. Thanks a lot, everyone, for listening in.
Send us an email on srilankancricketpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.